a photo can't encompass all of who you are. So I don't want you to put all of your stock and emotions and value in this one photo. Release your attachment that your self-worth is wrapped up in that photo, whether it was quote unquote good or not. Hey love, welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host and self-appointed hype woman, J.Go. Every week, I'll bring you 2 new episodes. Today, we are loving on ourselves. That's right, we're getting hit by the love bug and diving into all things self-love. Excited to be on this journey together. Let's go. Self-love can be really hard when you are going through different changes in your body. It can be really hard when you are in super, super memorable moments and you're so excited about them, but then sometimes you look back at those photos and you don't like what you see and you start to pick yourself apart. And I'm recording this now right after finishing a coaching call. I had a really good conversation with my BCB babes. We were in the universe doing a coaching call, and one of them was super honest about where they're at. And they were like, we've talked to this before, but I was hosting a beautiful birthday party for my child, and I'm trying not to give too many details for my child. And, you know, it's something where I was so happy and so proud of myself. And even when I went into it, like I felt really good with my outfit and with everything I was doing with my kid and being super present. And when people started sending me the photos after the party, I started to really struggle with how I looked. It almost felt like it was tainting the entire memory. The only thing she could focus on was that. And as we started to talk about this more and more, the other girls were just reiterating like how deeply they can relate to this, how they have been there too, how they remember moments like that, really beautiful, memorable moments that looking back at photos or in that moment looking at a photo, feeling really upset by it. And so I felt like the conversation was so valuable as I was starting to coach them through this and we were talking through things together. I thought about and we talked through strategies. If you sometimes hate seeing yourself in photos or things just come up for you, I talk about strategies you can do to help still find beauty in the moment, especially, and then also still find beauty within yourself, even in a photo. So after the conversation, a lot of the women were reaching out and saying it was a good thing to talk through and they felt really happy about it. And then I just felt called to hit record and share this with you all. So you guys are going to get a little behind the scenes view of what we kind of talked about in a typical group coaching call. We're super honest, we're super vulnerable, and we are all in this together. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 3 strategies if you sometimes hate what you see in a photo. So I'm using hate, your words, not mine, but let's talk about it. We love capturing memories. We have phones and photos everywhere. Women especially, I see us capturing photos and wanting to remember this moment. And we want our families to remember the time together. And I've talked a lot about being in the photo. Actually, I think last podcast episode, I talked about, put yourself in the photo and be really intentional with making sure you're a part of that memory, you're a part of that photo, because I think it's important for your kids to look back and see you in these photos. And my amazing client did that. She did exactly what we said. She wore the outfit that made her feel good and she was in the photos. But then what happens when you're still triggered or when you're looking back at those and it's starting to turn from a perfectly good day into a pity party? As this came up in our group, I talked through some different strategies that I have heard other people use and then also that we thought could work together. So number 1, if let's say you're hosting some sort of event and you're the momager, you're the one putting everything together, you're the event planner, or just in general, like you want to not have to be the one focusing on taking the pictures, you can actually, number 1, hire a photographer. If you have the ability to do that, that's amazing. It might feel a little extra. The reason I get this idea was because someone really close to me did this for their kid's birthday party and they were like, I know it's extra, but I do not want to be the one having to worry about taking the pictures. I want to be so present with my daughter in this moment. And I respected the hell out of that because she was not worried about what other people thought. She knew what was best for her and best for her experience with her daughter. And so that is going to allow you to be present and not worry about memories not being captured. And also, when a photographer is taking photos, it's a whole lot different from like Aunt Susan with her like iPhone 2 trying to take a photo from like a crazy angle that might not make you feel the best, you know? We can tell ourselves at the angles, but it helps to actually have some good ones once in a while. So that can be good. And if you're like, okay, J.Go, cool, that's a great world, but I maybe right now don't have the funds to allocate to a photographer. Maybe you know someone who is working towards becoming a photographer or in photography class at school or whatever, and you can ask them to do that and maybe in exchange for like a gift card or pay them something that feels reasonable for you. But something like that could be a good option for you for these memorable events that you want to make sure you're a part of. So number one, hire somebody, delegate that ish. Number two, look at them later. Okay, this is a really important one. And a lot of the girls agreed, one from an actual like birth experience of getting photos done during birth was like looking at them months later if needed. After you go into that moment, so let's say it's for a graduation that you just did, even if you don't have kids, let's give an example that's not kid related. Let's say that you're in photos for your birthday party and it's a swim party or it's at the beach and you are taking photos and you're being intentional about being in the photos. Focus on, at the end of the day, reflecting on the day, reflect on the experience, journal about it, create a concrete memory on how you felt in that moment. And that way, when you come back to the photos, you already have a concrete memory associated to it. And it's less likely to taint that memory if for some reason you are triggered by some of the photos, you don't feel good about them, or you start to pick yourself apart. I believe you're just going to be a little bit stronger going into it, opposed to you're in the middle of it. Maybe you're still in the outfit you were wearing and you're looking at the photo and you're being really negative towards yourself. The other thing about this, when people are taking photos of you and you grab the camera, and it's so often where it's a group photo and everyone takes a turn, just like on Mean Girls where they're saying what they don't like about themselves. I want to challenge you not to say that. Even if you want to take the photo again, speak up, absolutely take the photo again. But you don't have to say something negative about yourself to justify wanting to take another photo, okay? You can absolutely ask to take another photo, don't feel bad about it, but I just want to make sure you don't put yourself down in the process, okay? And the other thing you can do is have other people do it on their phones and then have them like email them to you or put it in a Dropbox, have your partner do it, and you can just look at them later, or they can go through and like, knowing you, they can get rid of the ones that maybe they think you wouldn't want. But if you feel good about it, look through them all, because it really doesn't matter ultimately. But as we're working through this, it gets easier, I promise. And then the third thing when it comes to a strategy to help when you're just in a moment taking photos, what to do to avoid hating them is, instead of doing them as photos, do them as a video. So this is me coming from like a content creation perspective. So obviously I'm not a mom, but I know when you are asking someone to take a photo of you, it's like as soon as you ask someone to take a photo of you, what do? Us millennials, we put our hand on our hip and we smile, and that's like the only pose we know, right? That's the only one we know. And so if we can instead give the person the phone and say, hey, it's just hold it right here, and it's a video, you can try out a couple different poses, maybe something a little bit more candid comes through, especially if it's with your family or your kids. I mean, kids are running around all the time, so this is just a good thing to do in general, but it can help it feel a little bit more natural and you not feel as stiff in the photos. And I highly recommend doing this. And then you can just screenshot from the video clips the photos that you like. They'll still be pretty dang good because video quality is really good these days, and it's still going to capture the memory. And you also might get some extra memories of, little clips of a video that you might not have expected, like something funny. Like I do this with my nephews when we do family photos, is I set up my tripod, and instead of having someone not be able to be in the photo, I just start a video. And I love it because I'm able to capture like the setting up of getting everyone situated, and it cracks me up. I love it so much. So I actually get to save those moments. And then I typically will find a screenshot or two where everyone's smiling or where the kids are actually still. So it's an option to allow it not to be so serious and not to think it has to be a one and done, because it can be really awkward when you're asking even a stranger or someone you know to take a photo. So I definitely recommend doing that. What bothers me the most about photos and with this example is it breaks my heart that we see the photo and we immediately blame ourselves. We immediately blame our bodies and are like, oh, I can't believe I look like that. And I saw this example one time and it was talking about like when you take a picture of the sun or you take a picture of the moon. And when you take a picture of the sun and the moon on your phone, it never looks as beautiful as it does in real life. Like you try as hard as you can to capture it and it just doesn't fully encompass all that is the sun, all that is the moon. And so when you think about that with yourself too. A photo can't encompass all of who you are. So I don't want you to put all of your stock and emotions and value in this one photo. Release your attachment that your self-worth is wrapped up in that photo, whether it was quote unquote good or not. And as you start to get more comfortable and explore with, like I said, different angles and video and just getting more comfortable that way, you stop blaming yourself and you start to just say, hey, I'm just practicing and getting into what feels good for me, what feels the most comfortable, what feels the most natural as far as angles. If you haven't hired a photographer, man, it can be really helpful. I was so awkward in photos. I still can be awkward, but when you have a good photographer, they can help break you through that. And you can be your own photographer if you have a tripod or just something to stick your phone on. This really leads into getting out of your own way when it comes to my Feel Good Naked Challenge. So I talked about this before, my 30-day Feel Good Naked Challenge. It's all about getting confidently uncomfortable, stepping into your confidence. And so some people think about like, oh, I wish I could take photos like that. I wish I looked like that in photos. All these things come up with comparison. And I want to show you that you can challenge yourself and actually feel good in photos. That is actually one of the challenges for the Feel Good Naked Challenge is to do a solo photo shoot. And it can be in your house. It can be, just with your phone. It can be on the top of a parking deck, which is how I do it. And practice with the video and you posing and playing with different angles. You can go on Pinterest and find different ways to shoot and angles to take. And you might be like, oh, that's dumb. I'm not a model or I shouldn't care that much. And like, it's not that you're vain. It's that everyone deserves to feel beautiful and confident. And I think that that's something that photographers have such a gift for, is helping us see that. And I think how cool would it be if we can tap into that for our own abilities? So then when we're taking photos and different memories, we can start to feel more confident in them. So I hope that these 3 strategies are helpful for you. I hope that next time you take some photos, you remember that you are the sun, you are the moon, you're so much more than that photo. And as you start to get more comfortable with things, it will start to pull together. But it is important to still be in the photos and be a part of those memories and also be present. Don't let how you feel about a photo taint that entire memory, okay? So I would love for you to be a part of this so we can jump into the solo photo shoot, jump into all these other fun Feel Good Naked challenges. I'll put the link in the show notes, so go ahead and check it out. And you can still join whether you're watching this before April 22nd or after. It is still there for you to join, so I'd absolutely love for you to do this. And let's do this. Let's have some fun with it. I'm excited for the solo photo shoot. So when that day does come around, please, 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 please share. I would love to see what happens, what you choose, whether you share it to me privately or you share it and tag me. I would love to see what comes up. You can definitely get creative with it. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. You can find some fun ways to be artistic with it, get creative, find confidence. Maybe you can take a boudoir shoot. There's some really cool people to follow online that actually share all about posing and posing from whatever body size you are. And I think that can be really powerful too. Hopefully I'll be able to share more of those women on here. So be sure to follow along with the 30-day Feel Good Naked Challenge, because my goal here is to definitely shine light to more of those creators and those photographers who are helping everyone embrace their body and feel good in their skin. So thank you guys for listening. If you have any other suggestions on what has worked for you as far as feeling more comfortable and confident in photos, or just breaking up with that negative self-talk when you are starting to see the photos, when you're really trying to savor those memories, please share, let me know. But join the challenge in the meantime. If you've already joined the challenge, I'm so glad. I cannot wait to start this challenge with you. I want to really ask you to take a second, copy the link in the show notes that I was just talking about, and text 5 of your girlfriends that you know would benefit from a big confidence boost, that would benefit from putting themselves out there and challenging themselves to really step into their confidence. Because my goal is to make a huge impact on women everywhere to recognize that they already have what it takes within them to feel confident now. They just need to tap into it.